Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. This is Blacklight on Sports. My name is Charles Hallman,
I'm Dr. Mitchell-Palmer-McDonald.
and tonight we have a long time, lifetime bond with this young man who we have known each other forever. We have a bond that cannot be disconnected, and he'll probably tell you that what that means. But one of the greatest Gophers played in the basketball, and he has his jersey up in the rafters, and he probably tell you everything about himself. Willie Burton, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. So, with the level of respect I have for both of you, uh, including your father, it was my responsibility to get here as fast as I could, just so nothing else kind of gets in the way. He said he wanted me to wait till Tuesday. It's like, no, man. So let me get over here now, as soon as possible.
We glad you did. We glad you made it.
Now, Willie, you from Detroit.
Mhm.
Our connection is we went to the same high school, not at different times, and we played for the same high school coach at different times.
Yeah.
But talk about just growing up in Detroit and what eventually led you here to Minnesota.
Well, growing up in Detroit was, as everybody know, interesting and challenging. Grew up with great parents that wanted me to be all the things that my potential would give me the opportunity to become. Had great coaching, great competition growing up in Detroit, as you know. Many of our legends that, you know, people can never sing, the names that they never heard. They were on those basketball courts that didn't go to school, didn't get the opportunities that we did. So I'm just very appreciative of the opportunity in which I've had. Um, I sit back and look at some of the things that I've done, and it trips me out to this day. A lot of people probably wouldn't realize that, but I literally go at least every 3 days in amazement of the opportunities I've had, things that I've done, lives that I've touched, and people that I've met.
I know you're trying to be too modest, and that bothering me right now. You played for one of the greatest basketball teams in the state of Michigan at that time, St. Martin de Porres High School. Yeah, I think y'all won up over 50 games in one stretch. You won back-to-back state tournaments, state championships. You played for one of the greatest coaches ever coached in Minnesota. Will you can say that. So we always talked about how you compared yeah, Ed Rachel and Clem Haskins, how they helped you become the man that you are. Talk about Ed Rachel a little bit, and then we'll talk about Clem Haskins.
Well, Coach Rachel is the foundation of what everyone sees. And I'm going to go into the correlation how Ed Rachel and Clem Haskins were exactly alike. They were so similar, they ran the same defenses, same schemes. So when I got here to school, I was very familiar with what he wanted as a coach. Both coaches pretty much stayed in my butt as much as possible. They saw potential that I didn't see. I just wanted to be a kid. They saw some abilities in me that I had no clue existed. Um, in other words, they pretty much kept me from self-destructing, which I'm thankful for to this day. But their mindset, their knowledge of the game, their discipline. I think some of the best teachings that I've got was to be efficient with the basketball. Because if it was up to me, I would have been like an N1 video, rolling on the floor, ball between my legs, around my back, and all of that, right? No, they wasn't going for that. So they challenged me to be efficient. They challenged me to be efficient. They taught me the footwork necessary. It wasn't always in friendly ways that they were talking to me, but look at him laugh.
Yeah, I heard plenty of stories. Plenty of stories.
But their knowledge and understanding of the game and how to put you in a place to become productive for me as well as my teammates was excellent. I mean, my teammates. I think my senior year in the NCAA tournament, I think it was 5 or 6 of us on 6 different teams. A reporter came in and let me know that. So that lets you know that the type of talent he was putting out, and he was also putting out coaches. So if they didn't play, a lot of them end up coaching,
Mm,
right?
yes.
Okay, so you start to look at the impact that Coach Rachel has had on the game of basketball, not only just Detroit, but look at he's not even here, and look at what he did in Minnesota. You coaching girls, right? How many years you coach?
I'm going into my 40 some years.
40 some years. Impact. No, now look at my ability to play and things that I've helped transpire here in the Twin Cities, not just basketball, but even off the court. And Coach Rachel was very instrumental in keeping me in check and making sure that I understood my responsibilities. Uh, Coach Rachel is part of the reason that I ended up here in Minnesota. So Coach Rachel, this guy right here, and Larry Ellis. I don't know to the extent he even knows his level of responsibility just for him being here and Larry being here and what they were doing here. Coach Rachel knew what y'all were doing. You might not have known he knew what you were doing, but he knew what you were doing. He knew where all his players were. He knew what was going on with all his players, including those that got into situations. He knew where everybody was. He was a part of their lives. That's just a coach. And I started to really understand the responsibilities of coach. It goes beyond athletics a lot of the times. In Coach Rachel's case, it went well beyond athletics. I was going to go to Pepperdine to visit because I was tired of snow, right? I see all these commercials and all these bikinis on television, and I'm a young, 17-year-old kid. I want to go to Pepperdine. I want to see what this is all about. You mean it's on Malibu Beach? And I get to go, and guess who was the assistant coach there?
Tony Fuller.
Another one of his players.
Yep, I remember hearing that name.
Right. So he tells me I'm not going because he knows I probably won't come back, And I said, okay, I'll stay close to home. I'll go to Michigan State. And he came up to me. Well, actually, how it started, I was going on a visit to Purdue, and he came up to me and said something. And he said something he had never said before to me. And I'm thinking it's my time. Okay, I'm about to get away from coach now. I'm about to go do my thing. Maybe I can handle the ball a lot more. He used to tell me not to handle it, but at the time I wasn't responsible with the basketball. And I looked at videos in high school. He was right. 2 dribbles. If it ain't 2 dribbles and you scoring, pass it. He said something to me that he never said before. He mentioned the NBA, and I just looked at him. Now he's a guy, how Coach Rachel is. Coach Rachel's not he's gonna tell you the truth. He's stern. And actually, Coach Rachel was the first African American to play in the Catholic League, which we played. He was the first African American athlete to play in the Catholic League. So that's another historical context. And he said something, and I figured to myself, well, I'm going to go to Michigan State. I'm going to go up here and hang out with these guys. You weren't around. I don't think we could get in contact with you, but Larry came. Larry Ellis took me on my visit, hung around. Larry was a scorekeeper at the time for the Gophers. Yeah. So I was like, I came up here and saw this place, and I saw how nice it was. I saw how clean it was. People had their doors open. They said hi. It was like, I don't hear no dogs barking. They took me over to North Minneapolis. It looked like Southfield in Detroit. And they've always said one thing to me: put yourself in a position to, if you can, live where you go to school, because you'll have a lot of support. You have more support there. And this was 2 big cities, really big cities with a lot going on. And I noticed a lot of their alumni stayed. Another person who I saw when I opened the book up, the magazine, they used to give you the magazines when we used to visit back in the day. And I saw Al Nunes sitting with a suit and a tie on in a highly professional position. It wasn't like that in Detroit. Not with no big companies, African Americans being in those positions. And then I met Daryl Mitchell, and I met all of these individuals that played that stayed. And I started thinking about the schools that I visited. And I started thinking, a lot of them didn't stay. unless they were involved with the university. And a lot of them didn't have this market. And so I went, this is a nice life up here, man. They having fun. Ain't nobody hungry, getting jobs. And I love the Williams Arena. I love that stage, you know. So Coach Haskins, I signed under Dutcher.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I signed under Dutcher originally. Myself, Melvin, and Jim Chicken Jancy.
Yep.
We all came on a visit together.
Yep.
And the situation happened here at the school.
Yep.
And I was committed to coming to the University of Minnesota. I was committed to coming here, I guess. And then it just so happens they hired Coach Haskins. I tell y'all a story about Coach Haskins when I first met him. So I was at home and they had switched the coach up. And of course Tyrone Terrell was on the media and on TV at the time.
Yes, we
Yeah, Tyrone. We talk about you, Tyrone. So Tyrone Terrell was on the media at the time, and Tyrone was defending the fact of African Americans. But Tyrone gonna do it with a baseball bat. So
very loud.
So pretty much in a nutshell, he was announced as the head coach. I hadn't heard of him. He's at Western Kentucky. Didn't really follow him that much at the time because you're not social media. But they did make the tournament and they did play. They had a monster team, and I noticed that he did have a player drafted from his team. And then I got a call from him, which I'm sure he called all players, and he said, "Yeah, son, I'm the new coach, and we've got to sit down. We've got to get together." Long story short, anyway, he said, "I'll be there in maybe 2-3 weeks, maybe something like that. At the longest, a month. We'll sit down. We'll get together." Right. Well, 3 days later, he was at my door. And I was like, "Okay, coach, hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Hey, son, let's sit down and talk." He said he had got a call from Jim Boyce.
Okay.
And Jim Boyce told him that he needs to come and talk to me now. You don't need to wait 3 or 4 weeks. So that's when I first met Coach Haskins at my house. And Coach Haskins. He's not going to, he's at that time, at that age, Coach Haskins raises men. If you're not going to be a man at some point, you're going to be punished so hard till I guarantee you either change your trajectory or you get out of his environment or off of his team. Because it's going to be ran one way. He's going to teach you to be responsible. He's going to give you information that no one else can. He gave us a lot of information about the game of basketball. He gave us information about the game of basketball as African Americans. In addition to that, telling us his experiences, some of the things he went through. And yeah, I ran a lot over Williams Arena because I wanted to just be a normal kid. Just like Ed Rachel had me running and Coach Haskins had me running. It was my sophomore year. When I went, "Coach, I know you get on us. I know you get on me. But sometimes you get on me a little extra. And I don't understand that." And he said, "Well, me and Coach Rachel figured that would be the best thing to do." Keep pushing the gas. We want you to keep pushing the gas. We don't want you to relax.
Not even realizing like they were in contact, right? Not even realizing they were in contact. Man, that's something. So you were already, so no matter who the coach was, you were going to stay at the University of Minnesota. Okay, yeah, I always wondered about that because I was in college at the time. My dad was, telling me all the things that were going on and all of that. And I always did wonder, I know you all signed under Dutcher, and I always wondered like how that transpired because you all stayed. No one, no.
Maybe now the question would be to ask Richard and Melvin. I never asked them to this day. I'm gonna call them and ask when I leave here. Why did they stay? I didn't know why they stayed either. Now they never asked me why I decided to stay. We just all stayed. I'm gonna ask them now.
I know we had Melvin Newbern on the podcast, and he told us, so it's probably on there.
Did he?
Yeah, he talked about that. He mentioned Tyrone and everything. People were coming in, and I was just getting kind of feedback from my dad. And then my dad finally met Coach Haskins. And you know how my dad dresses and all that. So about the first couple months, he was going over and meeting with Coach Haskins, and I said, and even my mom would ask him yeah, how's the relationship going? And Dad said, hey, he still don't trust me because I'm wearing dashiki. He said, he still don't trust me. He said, but I'm gonna get him.
He got him because he had the red carpet. Your dad had the red carpet rolled out. You know?
Oh yeah, I remember.
He had the red carpet rolled out. If it was something we were doing, he was always there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
So it was interesting how that friendship developed. And then when he told me, then when I graduated in '87, so when he came home and said, "Yeah, I'm running the Pillsbury," I'm like, well, how'd you get that already? And then my mom was like, after all these years, you really want to know how he, because he just had that knack. He just knew how to do it. I said, now y'all friends? He said, yeah. He said, I told you it wasn't gonna take long. He said, but and then he talked about you guys, and then I went to college in Ohio, so I saw Melvin when he was in high school.
Okay.
And I didn't meet him, but my friends from Toledo took me home because they wanted to see. I said, you was recruiting somebody from your school, and then they were like, man. First they were like, no, they didn't. They were like, dude, Melvin, and they took me home with him to Toledo so I could see him play.
Okay.
And so it's interesting how all those connections kind of come around. But I always wondered, why you guys ended up staying. Then of course, great things happened when you did.
Now your team, it was, time was crazy at Minnesota because of what happened in Madison. So all you came in together, but y'all was young, and y'all grew together to the point. And at point, there were some people was concerned about this team is going to get. Are they going to get better? Are they going to win? Because okay, first you got Clem, who's black coach. There's still some issues about what was going on, and then y'all still feeling your way through. But y'all got together like almost. I want to say, or you can tell us, but I want to say probably by your sophomore, junior year, y'all really started to get a feel of what the Big Ten was all about, how to compete in that, and then you could see the seeds that he had planted in you was there to the point that y'all was a jump shot away from going to Final Four in your senior year.
Yeah, I would say sophomore year, the end of sophomore year, the second half of the season. It was our second season in the Big Ten. We caught on and understood our responsibilities. At the first year, we were just too young. We weren't physically or mentally ready for the Big Ten, but we had no choice. Talent-wise, I had talent, but yet I didn't understand how to get things done in a different atmosphere of men. Not just running and jumping over people. I could score 25 in Pillsbury when I first got here straight out of high school, but that was completely different than the Big Ten. We also had to understand our roles and accept our roles. That's something different.
Yeah.
Accept our roles. And that one thing I can say about Coach Haskins, he puts you in a position to get done what you need to get done. At that point, you have to make decisions that may not be what he suggested. Okay?
Yep.
So sometimes I would be known for breaking plays or doing things different or doing something. But I knew I knew it was my responsibility to get it done. I sure wasn't gonna fail and then have to go back over and talk to him. So it was I had to figure out ways to help us win. Some nights Walter let us in scoring. Some nights Melvin let us in scoring. Some nights someone else left us a hot hand and it's going. I don't have to force the issue. I don't have to press the gas. And he taught me multiple ways of scoring without just getting the plays and getting the ball in my hand. I think what everyone, and this may be news, but what everyone doesn't understand is I didn't get a million plays called for me. He showed me how to score off offensive rebounds. He showed me how to look at the video and see places I could have went to the offensive rebound. He showed me about running the fast break. in scoring. He told me about getting steals. So I could score from a number of ways. This is why when I was in college, if you really look at the videos and look at a lot of my scoring, they didn't know when I was going to score. That you couldn't key on me because everybody was kind of getting the ball, and then out of nowhere I get it, and then they didn't plan on it, or they're out of sync. Secondly, he taught me and got me to understand. He had that big redhead Jim Chickenjansky. That Jim Chickenjansky will shoot the lights out. So a lot of times I would drive and hit him. I hit him 3, 4, 5 times. He rarely missed. He rarely missed. So after your man scored 3, 4, 5 times, what you gonna do? Because in the halftime in the locker room, you getting served. Because hold on, Jim just got 12 points. What you doing? We got Burton down here, but so now he has to go back. So he taught, and it's along the same lines as Coach Rachel, the game strategically. And used to say a lot of other stuff that I ain't gonna say on here, but
That's funny.
but he challenged me constantly. But I understood what he wanted done, and that's to win. The bottom line is to win. Some games he would say he don't want me shooting the 3. Literally, he would say that. I'm not. I'm going to take what I need to take to do what I need to do to get this win that we need to get. However that happens, I'll worry about what you have to say when I come on the sideline. But after that second year, you get clearly the coach is over here. We're running this. We're running it. And you got Melvin and you got Kevin, who's jumping out of the gym. Tell me white man can't jump. Go watch videos of Kevin Lynch. We got this Jim Chickenjansky gunning, and we got Richard Coffey getting every rebound imaginable. Who I watched, I could rebound, but I learned explosion through the ball rebounding from Richard. Watching him rebound, he'll tell you. We talk about this. My first year, he got all the rebounds. My second year, he got every rebound. He was Big Ten rebounding champion. By the third year, he'll tell you he was getting rebounds. He was seeing me up there with him, like, hey, where you come from? I've been watching you for 2 years.
Now you realized Coach Rachel's dream when he told you he was going to be in the NBA. That did happen. When did it click to you that you was going to be in the NBA?
It clicked to me I had the possibilities of being in the NBA. My junior year, I started seeing all these NBA scouts at the game. I thought they was there to see Illinois, and I thought they was there to see somebody else. I didn't think they were there to see me. Come to find out, they're there to see me. Come to find out, as I start traveling and moving, they're moving with me. And it's like, hold on a minute, I'm just playing ball, happy to be here. At the time I had no plans on leaving Minnesota. My plan was to stay here. Now I got to think about going somewhere else. I didn't prepare for that. That wasn't, Coach Rachel said that. And Coach Haskins used to say other things contrary to that. But, and then he said a lot of things. I don't want to, I make jokes about Coach Haskins. Coach Haskins was tough, just like everybody else. And people today wouldn't understand his methods. Coach Haskins will dive into your butt and pat you on the back after practice is over like your father. Talk to you just as soft, just as supportive. Great family. His Mrs. Haskins also supportive of us, and also the assistant coach's wife, Coach McKinney. Coach McKinney challenged me with my left hand, so let's talk about the assistant coaches. Yeah. Coach McKinney knew the kind of person I was, and he walked up to me and he say, "Hey man, they say you don't have a left hand." Knowing me, they say what? I'm gonna be eating with my left hand for the next month. Then you got Coach Brown. Then you got Coach Barnes. You had all these other coaches also that were intricate parts of pushing us and supporting us at the same time.
You talk about those three because Silas McKinney went on to be a scout in the NFL. Coach Brown went on to Tennessee to work with Pat Summitt, and then Coach Barnes went on to become a head coach at Eastern Michigan. I think he went something. No, but all three of them went. But all three was on your staff at the same time with Coach Haskins, who was a former professional himself, and who who definitely y'all put this program. Y'all made. I keep saying this, Willie, that this program had identity when Coach was on the sideline. You knew this team was going to play hard. You knew that you was going to see a game. It wasn't going. Those team was going to come into the barn and beat y'all. And then when y'all went on the road, y'all was going to make people pay for playing y'all. I never seen that team. I never seen Minnesota have that kind of presence since Coach Haskins left. I mean, obviously they had several coaches. We just going through another coaching change. But what was the biggest identity that Coach Haskins wanted your team to have when you stepped on the floor?
Play hard, which is on our shorts.
Yeah.
You're gonna leave. We're gonna leave everything we have on this floor. If we make some mistakes along the way, but it's not gonna be any more blowouts the way it was my first year. And early on in my second year, those days are over with. And if you slip, see, we remember too. I remembered, and sometimes I could be interested on the basketball floor. Anybody knows any champion? Sometimes champion can be hard to deal with when he's trying to win. It's not friendly. Sometimes I might say things to my teammates or push them or get in their butt or whatever, because I remember those butt whoopings. Yeah, I mean, Coach Haskins could push us, but I remember, and I'm sure they remember too. We're going to do this, whatever's going to happen. I don't care about the fans. I don't care about the refs making a bad call. I don't care if you slip the last play. It's still time on this clock. We're trying to take them down. We're trying to take them down now. And we want to make sure if we're playing them in our place the second time, that they understand when they come in here that they might as well quit before they come. Because now the whistles aren't going to be on your side. The fans aren't going to be on your side. Which we went through a lot of that in the beginning until we earned our right. You have to earn that respect with officials. You do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the things Ben Johnson went through at home. I would see calls being made for the other teams, and that's a sign of, to me, of respect from officials.
Mm.
It's just the way it is. It's going to go this way or this way. You already know Coach Haskins was taking his jacket off, dancing up down the sideline, slamming his coat on the floor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You made that famous.
Yeah.
Two things made famous: taking that suit coat off and sit on that stool.
Yeah.
They made that famous. Now, if you got the NBA, what was the aha moment that you got when you got to that level?
As far as being a player or
as a player, now you're professional. Now that means this is your job. This is no longer you can just, come in for a couple hours and you go do something else. This is your job now. They expect you to do this because they're paying you this.
Yeah,
exactly.
Was it a big adjustment for
It's
you?
a lot. I mean, it's a lot of basketball. I like playing. I love playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, come on, man. Let me sit at home for a day or two. You know what I mean? I retired. The first car I bought had 50,000 miles on it. It had 50,000 miles on it 12, 13 years later. You got cars you don't drive, homes you don't live in.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to use this example, but it's kind of like entertainment or like the circus. The circus is traveling and packing.
Mm-hmm.
You make money from that, from taking this entertainment, moving it around for different people to see. When moving around, you're not going to be home. But as far as the game itself,
yeah,
I'm saying this, and I just mean this. I was finally free to do all the things I was capable of.
Right.
Okay. I was free to unleash with the teachings of the great individuals who programmed me. Now I can play the point guard, the shooting guard, the small forward, and sometimes the power forward. I play 4 positions in the NBA at any given moment. Here I was mainly the 3 because that's what we needed to win. But there I was never asked to pass the ball. I was never asked to pass the ball. I was allowed to score because I was capable of literally racking up numbers in minutes.
Mhm.
I could come off the bench even and get 12 points in 12 minutes.
Mm.
But I was in awe of some other individuals' abilities. God dang, they could take their games go way up. You know what I mean? I mean, just in what they do and how they do it. The first time I saw Akeem, I realized Akeem was a small forward. You could say he's a center. You could say whatever you want to say. Akeem could catch the ball and square up like a small forward, just inside the NBA three-point line, and do everything I could do.
Mm.
So what center could guard him? I mean, Akeem the Dream, the Nigerian Nightmare, everything that they said that I read about, I watched in some of these individuals. You know, Michael Jordan could get his game up to levels no one else could, at least I couldn't get to. And as we see, other Hall of Fame say they couldn't get to.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. I was wondering about, when you're in college, things are a little bit more controlled, and then you're playing, and you're seeing these guys, and then all of a sudden you're on the court with them, like the very next year. So I was always I mean, you're already explaining how it was when you're like, okay, you're in a whole nother universe now when you get to the NBA because everybody's good.
A lot of people, a lot of individuals were leading scorers on their team, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not. Their job is not to score anymore.
Mm. Okay.
Their job is to set screens or do something else. And back then it was different. It was more physical.
Oh yeah.
They literally had, you literally had people on the bench whose job was to do the dirty work.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like that now. You know, but everyone had a role. Just like here in college, and my role was I never had a coach in the NBA tell me not to shoot. Even when I played with Tim Duncan and David Robinson, you know, I didn't play as much because those two, as we know,
Mm.
but when they were off, I had green lights. I had the green light to go in. Pass to nobody.
Now was the coaching different? Because now you're dealing with grown men and not college young men.
Yeah, it's different in the sense you said job, right? I've seen coaches say something to someone 3 times and they still didn't do it, and their locker was cleared.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's some reality for your man.
Yeah, yeah. You get a lot of talented individuals. It's really only about, I would say, half the players that don't make the NBA. It's really only about a 1-inch margin between them and not playing in the NBA. It's very, very small. It goes to, and this is why the good coaching came in with me. It goes to, if I take away your right hand, can you go left?
Okay.
If I take away your drive, can you shoot a jump shot? So everybody is watching this. I want to bring something to your attention about the NBA. What you're watching when a guy gets 20 and 30 points, they're getting 20 and 30 points, taking away their strengths. The scout report, we go and take away what you like to do. You like to go right, we take it away. If you like to go left, we take it away. If you like to shoot, we take it away. We're going to force you to do something else other than what you like to do every night. And not everyone can adjust to that. It's just that small. Just like Coach McKinney said, they say you don't have a left hand, so I go get a left hand. Right? So when I first got in the NBA, immediately my first step, I'm blowing by people left or right. When I went around Dennis Rodman, I knew, okay, I must have a pretty good first step. You know what I mean? Now they took it away. But what they didn't understand and didn't know is that I could shoot the ball too. So Charles Barkley would never guard me. He would never come up on me. Charles Barkley would always be, he might be further than you and I are together because he knew I was going to go around him, my first step. He rather I sit there and shoot all day than go around it. So that's the difference. I'm going to take away what you like to do and see what you do now. And a lot of individuals weren't prepared the way I was by Coach Rachel and Coach Haskins to have a multitude of tools.
What coaches that you played for in the NBA came the closest to Coach Haskins and Coach Rachel?
Knowledge of the game, all of them. You got to know the game. I mean, they know the game just like they did. I have to say that. They know the game. They know their players. I would say all of them. I mean, I've been coached by Lenny Wilkins. I've been coached by John Lucas. I've been coached by Ron Rothstein, who has like 4 or 5 championships. Popovich, 5 championships. I mean, all of them, I would say.
Because they always say, you hear it, they say that coaching the NBA more managers. They managing the game as opposed to teaching the game. Or I don't think that's true, but
No, that's not true. Because you look at film and you're trying to figure out a way to get someone, have someone become more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're going to do. We're going to look at film. We're going to study what went wrong. We're going to look at what you need to do. Every coach in the NBA is like that. And matter of fact, you have 5 assistant coaches that's going to help you do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that is not true. I can remember when when a coach came to me and they give you stats like crazy. They could tell you what how many times you sneeze. You know what I mean? so so he came to me and he brought to my attention, assistant coach, your field goal percentage is better on the road than it is at home. So that's not true. That's not true.
Now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going for your doctorate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did you end up? On that path? I mean, I know, once you're done playing, there's a big adjustment to make. I'm pretty sure. But you're going for your PhD. How did you get to that point? Are you almost done?
Yeah, just
Okay.
finished my written exams 3 days ago
Okay.
for my comps.
Yeah.
So, you go to school 3 years to do
Oh yeah.
to take written exams
Yeah.
to prepare you for what's coming. So that tells you the level of depth. You go
Oh
to
yeah.
class 3, you go to school 3 years to take one test.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
God, I'm on that path with God and because see, I was originally supposed to retire Timberwolf. I don't know if you saw they gave me a jersey the other night with my name on the back.
Mm-hmm.
I left San Antonio and I want to retire here.
Okay.
God didn't see that. God had another path for me to be on. Number one, being a father. Enough being Willie Burton. Got nothing else to do as far as the game of basketball. You have nothing else to prove.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to be a dad. And being a dad helped me work with kids. Working with kids helped me write programs and curriculum. Writing programs and curriculum, I hired the University of Minnesota to evaluate. When I hired them to evaluate, everyone kept saying, doctor, 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 doctor. You're doing doctor work. You're doing PhD work. You're already doing the work. Da 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 da. I'm not thinking. I'm like, okay, because I didn't really understand it, even though I went through them with the process,
Mm-hmm.
with the universe, through the process of, I went through the sorting and rating. I went through the beta testing. I went through the entire process of I helped create the questionnaire that we used, some of the questions, because the programs in which I had created didn't exist. There were no tools to measure them at the time. And I tried, I stuck my head in the door, I thought about it, and I went over to the university kinesiology department and called and tried the door. At the time they start locking doors, around there, campus. So can't just walk in. I called, I didn't get a phone call back. So I give Quincy Lewis a call. Quincy Lewis calls over to the university kinesiology department, and that's how it all started. Call from Quincy Lewis. So
You got to be feeling good, almost being done.
actually, I'm nervous because
Mm-hmm.
I've done project after project after project after project. That's what my life has been about since I retired from sports.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not creating programs for kids, it's being involved in some capacity So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do next? You know what I mean? As far as projects. But as you know, that's what we do. We create research, we evaluate things. So I'll just join projects that others are a part of. But I'm going as high as you can go as far as education is concerned. There's no, and I said the day I was drafted, I said, "You'll never see me in another classroom again." Now I'm K through college because I work with the high schools here. I've worked with St. Paul schools. Um, I'm currently working with Burnsville School District, and I'm looking forward to have a conversation here next month, middle of next month, with Minneapolis school districts, because I'm passionate about going in, passing out my knowledge, and helping others to grab other individuals like myself along the journey to get them to reach their potential. And that's not always with sports, but sports for a lot of individuals who can't afford it is a free ticket to get access to education and change your family dynamics.
Very true.
And you never regretted your original intent to make Minnesota your home.
No, I'm back here now. It's the coldest place I've been. I left here. When I left here, I lived in Pasadena. I lived in Houston, San Antonio, Atlanta, Miami, West Palm Beach, Charlotte, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. No place I lived was cold. And I'm back here and it's freezing, but I love it. I love it. I don't always agree with it, but as far as the temperature, but when you look at the amenities that's around here and the people and just the life, overall life, I think it's why a lot of people come back. It's why people go away. They think it's so great. It's not like Minnesota. And then they end up coming back, and you bear and deal with the cold because of the amenities that you have here to have a productive life. Schools for your kids, jobs for yourself, living conditions, environments, lakes.
And you're still connected with the basketball program in some respects. So, that's been in the news in the last recent weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think they talked about it a little bit.
Some stuff I don't know about it. It's like I've been in the book, so it's.
But what have you seen from being in the program, from now you're outside the program, so to speak? The progress, how is it in good standing that they can move forward? The world of sports is crazy now. You got NIL that's out there. You have the transfer portals out there. It's like everybody's leaving every day. Definitely something that wasn't around when you played. But the state of if you can give us the state of Gopher basketball in your estimation.
The state of Gopher basketball it's going to be fine. It's in a transition, just like any and everything else. With the new NIL deals coming up, see, one of the things you have to understand is NIL at some point should be one of the tops in the country. It should be in the top 15, 20.
Mm-hmm.
The reason it should be in the top 15, 20 is because we have the 14th largest sports market.
Mm-hmm.
This sport market is not based on winning. If it was based on winning, the Vikings stadiums wouldn't be full. The Timberwolves stadiums wouldn't be full.
Mm-hmm.
The Lynx stadiums wouldn't be full.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because there's no championships as far as I know, right? Lynx haven't won one in a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet fans still come. It's a sports town. Now, with that being said, that means there's opportunity. Mm-hmm. And with the NIL, Ben hands was tied behind his back. I mean, you lose all of your players who are now, you've seen them, some of them in the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. You lose an NIT team, it's hard to recover from that. And you bring guys in, and most of them had never really played at that level. You're talking about the Big Ten. Let's make no doubt about it. It's the most competitive conference as a whole in the country. Mm-hmm. Make no doubt about it. From California to New York, you can't help it. However, the individuals who were brought in, they were thrown in like I was. They weren't ready in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And whether Ben can coach or not, I'll answer this by this. if that team makes 15 free throws, they're in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
15 free throws total gives them about 4 or 5 wins that they lost. Close games too in the last seconds that they gave away.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're at what, 19 wins?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So whether he can coach, he coached a bunch of guys that did not get Division I offers. And I hope that they stay in the level of Division I that they're in. And he had them competing. So whether you can coach or not has been answered.
Yeah.
However, the university decided to move on, which this is a business. You know, when you take a job, you know, when you get involved in this, it's a business. It's not going to last forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is. And, you know, having a master's degree in sports administration, I understand the business. I understand how it operates.
Mm-hmm.
I understand how it works. And in this market, and sometimes in sports, change is good,
Yeah.
you know? And that's what the athletic director decided. He made the call. I'm sure he and others made the call and the decision, but ultimately they have a responsibility to keep this program going and keep it moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when they make decisions and choices as a public, we may or may not like it or may or may not agree with it. But as soon as they turn around and win, it was a great choice. It was a great choice he made. Wow, he's a great guy, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what you sign up for when you get involved in athletics.
Yeah.
You sign up for taking risks that no one else will. And whether Ben will be coaching or not, he'll be coaching. He
Yeah,
did
I
some
think so.
things. He got an opportunity, made some money, changed some lives. This is our business. It turns over to something else.
Yeah.
Willie, we always offer our guests an opportunity to speak to our viewers and our listeners what we call pearls of wisdom that you offer to them. Anything you want to say to them that you want them to know, learn, grow. When they cut this program on again, they'll come away with something that they can work with.
I would say don't make the mistake of underestimating the abilities for the Gopher basketball program to resurge itself. Time and time again, we've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
And now here's an opportunity and choices that have been made. And my responsibility is to support whoever's there. I support the university in this program. It's going to have many different coaches. This is my second or third athletic director that I've been working with. I'm going to support the university because it's supporting those young athletes and do what I can. You know why? Because someone supported me when we were losing 9-19. It's not when everything is going good, when people show up. It's when things are not so good, you know? And that's all I'd have to say about the Gopher program. And if they'll allow me to continue to do the same thing, supporting and being a part of, I'll be happy. But at the same time, I have to say this too. And this is sometimes what former athletes don't get. No one owes us anything. We had our chance in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if it's up to me, I'd like to use my platform to include alumni more into recruitment of University of Minnesota athletes and state of Minnesota athletes. That's the one thing that I would say we should improve on. Kiera Buford is over there now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it was my choice, Kiera Buford had 2 or 3 assistants so that we can get access to these coaches and these students, because Gophers are everywhere all over the state. We know the talent. Our kids or their kids are playing. Their kids are involved in sports. They can pick up the phone and say, hey, we got this kid over here. Get him down there early. So Wisconsin and all these other states quit taking our students away. That's what I think one of the recruitment tools is going to be. And I think this goes outside of coaching. I think the Alumni Association can be a part of helping them keep Minnesota athletes in the state of Minnesota.
Okay.
Because one coach can't be everywhere, but if you got 500,000 alumni, they can.
True.
Willie, you and I will always be, our bond will be as strong as ever. And I love you as a son. Can't be a brother because I'm too old. Well, our ties will always be strong, and I appreciate you always speaking highly of me. I don't know what I did for you, but you always speak highly of me, and I appreciate that. I hear that from other people when they hear you talking about me and other sources. I appreciate that. Appreciate you being with us tonight.
Yes.
I, we wanted you on the show. We had Melvin on our show.
Did he sneeze and blow all the cameras away?
No, but he has.
We be talking about his big nose.
He has some stories, and he has a story after we stopped after the tape run. He was telling us more stories. So we gotta get him back on again because he has some stories. But I love all of you, because you you did put this program on the map, and you came together. Like you said, you came in together. You went out together, basically in a strong way, and I think that's not talked about a lot.
Yeah. Walter Bond is not talked about a lot as much either, a lot of the times in that conversation. Walter Bond was a big integral component to us staying successful when things go down. So the whole staff, Connell Lewis coming in with his defense. We were a team who understood our responsibilities and we were going to get to it. You know what I mean? It was a little bit different. We had a mentality. We were going to get to it.
And he was led by a strong black man.
Yeah.
He was strong in terms of and he definitely wanted y'all to be men. Not so much. Basketball players too. We want y'all to be strong men, and y'all all went to and became successful in all different facets of society.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, as far as I remember, when I got my degree, I thought that we were. I hope it's changed by now, but when I got my degree, I thought we had the only team where everyone on the team had a college degree.
Mm.
They brought that out. I was the last one on my team to get my degree.
That could be.
I don't know. That's something you should check up on.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Willie, for being with us.
Yes, thank you.
We enjoyed it, and definitely we're gonna have you back again because you got too many stories that we can't squeeze it in a couple of minutes.
You guys, man, I appreciate you all. I appreciate your dad.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate you. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the state of Minnesota and the open home that it had given me and the opportunities it's given me. I really appreciate it. We could get guys like Ray Seville to invite me to stuff, instead of me having to hunt him down, when things are happening, it'd be nice, be nice if everybody out there that's looking, would invite me to things. I'm looking forward to being part of the community as much as I can. Um, Again, just giving back and using, I guess, the name of Willie Burton. You see me, the public, and you all see me one way. I see myself as just the humble, the guy that my coaches wanted me to be, my parents wanted me to be, which is somebody that works in the community, that uses the resources that they have to help others. Because as I said before, my fuel is the amazement of the things that I've done, and my mission is to go into these schools in education and challenge these kids to do the same thing. We've got a 66% literacy rating in the United States, where most of our students in education are reading at grade level. 44% are functionally illiterate. See, we've got a problem here in the United States with education.
Oh yeah.
And something has to be done. It can't stay the same. You don't take it and scrap it and throw it away. But as I sit down and I meet with lawmakers and trips that I've gone in Washington, D.C. and things like that, I'm pushing to have things looked at because we got to evolve the education system. It can't stay the same. Cars change, planes change, doors change, everything changes, medical changes, but the educational system is still the same. And now we're suffering. Do we leave it the same or what? That's my concern for the kids, from what I'm seeing.
Well, thank you again, Willie.
Yep.
We thank you for joining us. This is Blacklight on Sports. We try to bring in people that can just enlighten us and talk about more than just sports. We don't want to talk about scores and wins and losses. We talk about a lot of things because we bring people. Sometimes people are not as well known as they could be and want to be, but we want to make sure those things happen. My name is Charles Hallman.
I'm Dr. Mitchell-Palmer-McDonald.
We ask you to join us again, and we ask you to continue to read us in the newspaper, Minnesota Spokesman-Recorder. We're in there every week, and please join us again. And thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.